Hello, hello. Dr. Keith Johnson here, America's #1 confidence coach. I hope you're creating a great day. I'm so thankful that you've taken the time to join me. This time together is going to be awesome because I'm going to talk about my book called What You Call a Crisis, God Calls a Classroom. You know, this week we had a crisis. One of our brothers in the Lord committed suicide. A pastor this week committed suicide. Man, my condolences go out to his family, and that's huge. That's a crisis that affects all of us. But you know, as I've been watching different posts that have been popping up, I've noticed one pastor after the next pastor posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram and Twitter, talking about this crisis. And you know, whenever they do a post about this pastor that killed himself, you know, one of the things that I continually see them say is, well, you know, pray for your pastors. And trust me, nobody loves pastors more than myself. I mean, I spent the last 15 years of my life flying on airplanes all over the world to meet with leaders, to talk with pastors, to help them, to coach them, to train them. As a matter of fact, today, right now I'm at the airport, and I'm sitting back here in the lounge, and I'm off to go fly to Augusta, Georgia. And in Augusta, Georgia, I'll land tonight, and then tomorrow a pastor's flying from Maine to come, and I'm going to coach him for a day. And then Saturday I go into a leadership conference there in Augusta, and then Sunday I'll speak in a church. So I'm going to be around a lot of pastors this weekend. I love pastors. But when you watch the post, you know, please pray for your pastor. This is just a warning sign. Everybody needs to pray for their pastor. That's the common theme of all these posts. And I'm like, okay, it's nice that you want to pray for your pastor, and that's good. But there's something more than just praying for our pastor that we need to do. First of all, if you're a pastor, and if you stop by this video, you need to listen to this seriously, because I'm going to help you, because you need more than just prayer. What I know for a fact is that most pastors need a coach. They need a consultant in their life. We are violating one of the Bible's most powerful principles. Where there is no counsel, people make dumb decisions. People do dumb things. Where there's no counsel, people end up perishing. And we see this time and time again throughout the book of Proverbs. We're told to get a counsel, get coaching, get somebody in your life who can speak into your life, who can help you build a church the right way. So I want to ask you the question, you know, does pastoring have to be hard? Because in all the posts about this guy committing suicide, every one of them said, man, pastoring's the hardest thing that a person could ever do. It's tough. It's rough. Man, it's dangerous. And pastoring's a dangerous job. I mean, I think, wow, when you think about dangerous, I think about guys walking the skyscrapers on steel beams. You know, one slip and they're dead, you know. And I look at that, and that's the mentality that a lot of leaders have. But hear me, it's a wrong mentality. Ministry does not have to be hard. I want to say that again. Ministry does not have to be hard. Pastoring does not have to be hard. A lot of the pastors that I have coached over the years, they'll tell you that before I came into their life, ministry was hard. Most of them they were getting ready to quit. A couple of them probably said, yeah, I was about ready to commit suicide myself. I mean, and that's true. I ran into some pastors that were in really bad shape. They hired me as a coach, and I helped them. I worked with them. I helped them first, and then I helped them with their teams. And out of a lot of their crisis, a lot of their personal crisis, I have many, many, many pastors all over the world who have built strong and powerful churches, but they're doing it the right way. And when ministry is hard and tough and burdensome and painful, it's really a sign that just maybe you're not doing it right. Now, when I talk to leaders all the time, they're always saying to me, they say, man, I wasn't trained for this. This job demands so much more skills than what I have and that I've been trained in. And I get that. You do need more training. But here's the crisis that we're facing in the church. Most pastors are not doing it right. And it's because most pastors are caught up into doing the wrong things instead of doing the right things. And I want you to think about this. Most leaders are way overworked. However, they've created a culture that demands that they do everything. And that's the problem. We've got leaders who have way too much on their plates. So when I coach a pastor, here's the first thing I tell them. I said, here's what I know about you. Your ministry has grown to the size of who you are. And your ministry's grown to the size of your current structure, of the structure you've created in the church. Your ministry's grown to the size of the culture you've created. And here's what I say. You know what? The culture you created is that everything revolves around you. If something needs to be done, you're doing it. People are looking to you for everything. And this is the problem we have in the church. We still have the star mentality. And you've got to get rid of the star mentality, and you've got to embrace a team mindset. You've got to start working through teams. You've got to stop wanting to be the one-man show. So if you're a pastor, man, just slap yourself. Lay hands on yourself and tell the spirit of narcissism to loose itself. To loose itself off of you. Because I know, I was there. In my 20s, I was pastoring a church, 150 people, stressed out, frustrated, wanting to quit. I would say pastoring is hard back then. But you know what? In that crisis, I learned something. That's why I call this, what you call a crisis, God calls a classroom. That's what this book is about. In that crisis of, me getting to the point where I was so frustrated, I was ready to throw in the towel. I said, man, I don't want ministry anymore. This is too painful. This is too hard. In the midst of that, I learned something. I learned that I have to function through a team. I have to build a team. And listen, if you continue to carry the burden all by yourself, it's going to pound you in the dirt. Number one. Number two, you're never going to maximize your potential of what you could build for God in your local region. One of the first things I tell a leader, I said, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to come and I'm going to help you. I'm going to take the plates off your table. Because some of you you're just doing too much. You've got too much going on. You're doing the counseling, you're doing the prayer for people, you're doing the visitors cards, you're calling people when they're sick, you're visiting the hospitals, you're marrying people, you're doing the pre-marriage counseling for the people, you're going to funerals, you're going to the wakes, You're going to the chicken dinners. You're going to the graduation services. You're going to you're involved in all of this stuff. I mean, I know pastors. You're going to help people move. They got kicked out of their apartment, so you're helping people move. Now you're not a pastor. You're a mover. You're a counselor. See, you're everything. What you don't realize is you're everything but what God's called you to be. God didn't call you to be a counselor. God didn't call you to be a mover for people. God didn't call you to go sit at the hospital. He didn't call you to be a nurse. He didn't call you to be a doctor. What did he call you to do? God called you to do one thing, and that's preach the Word of God. To prepare great messages so that every time you're standing up in that pulpit, you are releasing good news. Good news. To what? The Spirit of the Lord, Jesus said, is upon me, for He has anointed me to preach the good news, to heal the brokenhearted, to set the captive free, and to proclaim, to speak, to let it out. That this is the year of the Lord. That's what you're supposed to be doing in all of those things. In all those things, the Spirit of God was upon Jesus to do what? To communicate, to speak. What do most pastors do? They're doing everything else Monday through Saturday except for working on what they're supposed to be doing, which is communicating, speaking, leading. Some people say, well, we're supposed to be servant leaders. So, so that mentality, pastors think, well, I'm supposed to be clean. If the toilet needs clean, I'm going to be cleaning the toilet. I'm going to mow the grass for the church. I'm going to clean the rugs. I'm going to, so they think, I'm being a servant leader. Wrong concept. A servant leader being a servant leader isn't about you cleaning the toilets. Although I understand when you first start off, you got to do that. You got to do that because you don't have anybody else to do it for you when you first start. Right? But servant leadership is this. Servant leadership says, you know what? I'm going to serve this group of people in that I'm going to take responsibility for the vision of what is possible for us as a group. I'm going to take responsibility to point people in a direction because that's what every organization needs. It needs somebody to bring direction. Where are we going? What are we going to do? What is next for us? So a servant leader does what? Steps up to the plate, takes responsibility and say, you know what? I'm going to be the one that's going to point in the direction of where we need to go. And that's what servant leadership is all about. And then motivating ordinary people, you having the ability through communicating to them to motivate people, ordinary people, to do extraordinary things. Because you brought clarity of vision in their life. And that's serving. Listen, you look around, nobody else wants to point the direction. Nobody else wants to show us the way. And that's the beginning of leadership. Leadership starts, okay, when you begin to see. The first responsibility of a leader is to see into the future. Think about that. So if you're not seeing into the future, you're like the blind leading the blind, and the blind lead everybody where in the ditch. And here's what I find most leaders are so caught up with taking care of all the crisis and all the junk in the church that they have no vision. They don't know where they're going. It's for sure not clear. Sometimes, they got this random thought, or they come to me with their little cliches, I said, well, where are you going? We're upward in worship. We're inward in commitment. We're outward in evangelism. I'm like, that's a cliche, man. That doesn't move anybody. Tell me where you're going. Tell me where you see this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's servant leadership. I'm going to grab the bull by the horns, and I'm going to serve this group of people because they're like a bunch of sheep. They don't know where they're going. And I'm going to lead. I'm going to be the good shepherd, and I'm going to point the direction for them. And then I'm going to develop leaders. I'm going to train leaders. So that's why I tell leaders, that's what I'm going to do for you and for your life. I'm going to take the plates off, all the stuff that you're doing. I'm going to help you get rid of all the plates off your desk. And then I'm going to focus your life to where you do two things. Number one, you prepare great messages, not good messages, but great messages, so that every Sunday morning you're knocking it out of the ballpark. You want your church to grow? Here's where it starts. Great messages. People vote with their feet whether they want to come back or not. When you provide a great message that provides everything that Luke 4 tells us about, the Spirit of the Lord is upon you to preach the good news, to the poor, right? When you come to the pulpit and you got something good, something fresh, something that empowers people, heals people, something that proclaims, this is the day of turnaround, something positive. That's what the Spirit of the Lord is there to do. That's what you're called to do. But sadly, too many leaders, they get up there and they wing it. They're winging their messages because they got the gift to speak. So when they get up to the pulpit, they can just wing it and say anything they want. But let me tell you, the people who attend, they know the difference. They know you're winging it. And so here, this is what I'm telling you, that you're so caught up in doing all this other stuff that ministry becomes really tough. It does. Doing it that way, it's really hard. When you're outside of what you're supposed to be doing, it's a clue. It's a clue. When you're frustrated, frustration is a clue you're outside of the alignment of what God has gifted and called you to do. And it's all because of cultural pressure to do all of that stuff. The Bible's very clear. It tells you what you're supposed to do. Ephesians 4:11 and 12 says he gave some to be apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers. For what? For the equipping of the saints. For the what? For the work of the ministry. What's your job? Not to be doing the work. Your responsibility is to be training and equipping others to do the work of the ministry. And sadly, the church today is what I call upside down. The church is all focused on the leader doing all the work. And when all the focus is on the leader doing the work, you now have limited potential because the whole ministry is based around one person's gift. When we get things right side up, the responsibility shouldn't be on the pastor. The responsibility for touching the community, touching the world, making a big difference should be on the congregation's shoulders. So the leader training the people to do the work of the ministry. But it's never going to happen as long as you do all the work. Because people are lazy. They're going to sit back and say, hey, let pastor go do it. Let him go do it until you say it. And it takes some change. It takes some time. And it takes some coaching. Because here's the thing. You created a culture. You created a culture already where everybody expects you to do it. Now you got to begin to change that culture. See, that's the difference. When you're stuck, when your church is stuck, you see, you created the small church mentality culture inside of your church. And now you've got to change that culture because you created it. People are expecting you to, they got expectations on you. You got to do this. You got to counsel. You got to marry. You got to bury. You got to preach every Sunday. No, what if that's not true? Most of the people that I coach, that's not true. I have my pastors. I have them preaching anywhere between 30 to 40 messages a year. They're not preaching all the time. And see, some of you think you got to preach every Sunday. Well, I don't have anybody else. Well, that's because you're not training anybody else. Again, you're running around doing all this other stuff that you're not even supposed to be doing. And you don't have time to do the two most important things: preach great messages, develop leaders, and releasing them to do the work. See, the coaches that I coach, I get them to create teaching teams so that the whole burden of teaching, preaching, is not always on them. The way I teach pastors to lead their local churches makes ministry fun again, makes ministry joyful. But if you're leading and you're on an empty tank, boy, I can see why you think it's hard. I can see why you want to quit. I could even see why eventually think, man, life's just not worth living. I got all these demands on me. It doesn't have to be that way. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be that way. But you got to change. You got to be willing to change the culture. You got to be willing to get a coach, get somebody who can help you transition. First of all, your personal structure. Second of all, your church's structure. Those two things have to be changed. And if they don't change, guess what? Ministry is going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be. The rest of the days of your life, the rest of the days of your ministry, it can be easy. Ministry can be easy. Take my yoke upon you, for it's easy. It's not hard, it's easy. But hey, that's why I wrote this book, man. A lot of these principles, I talk about this in here. What you call a crisis, God calls a classroom. And I think this crisis we face this week should be a wake-up call. Wake-up call. And if you're posting things that says, this is the hardest job in the world, this is the toughest job in the world, and if you're in that mindset of saying amen, amen, you know why all of the pastors are saying amen? Because all of them are doing it wrong, basically. All of them are functioning out of a wrong mentality instead of a right mentality. I can help you get on track. I hope you stay connected. If you've enjoyed this, hey, will you do me a favor? Will you just post below? And please, if you're listening, will you do me a favor? I know you know some pastors who are stressed out, who are struggling. Will you do something? Just share it. You never know who could listen to this, and just something just kind of hit them right between the eyes and say, wow, I need to wake up. And if you're a pastor, this is a wake-up call to you. You are doing too much. And if you keep up at this pace, you're going to burn out. You're going to crash and burn. And when fatigue walks in, faith walks out. Hey, get off that roller coaster. It's time for ministry to be fun again. So please, 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 if you're watching, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Please share this. Share this. You never know your pastor could hear this and it could change his life. Share this, will you please? And I'd appreciate it. Post down below what you think. What do you think? Love to hear from you. Tell me where you're from. And I'm so grateful. I got to get out of here. I'm in the airport. I got to go catch my flight, as a matter of fact. But I wanted to talk to you guys real quick and just give you some of my thoughts on this situation and what I'm seeing on Facebook. Hear me again. Ministry does not have to be hard. You've created a culture that's made it hard, but it doesn't have to be. Thank you for those thumbs up. Thank you for those thumbs up. I'm going to need that support, and I'm going to do the best I can to help leaders make it easy again. Thank you. Praying for you. God bless.